What tax service to use to get the most back in your tax refund is a valuable question to answer, but it can be a bit of a minefield. The tax rules can be a little bit complicated and confusing, and a lot of these tax services are all doing things slightly differently. So I wanted to shape up the things that you need to know, set the right expectations, and get the right results. Now, the first thing that I'm going to say is that all of these tax services are not a silver bullet. Ultimately, what they're doing is that they're inputting your tax data based on the information that you tell them and what you've already done throughout the financial year. That means that they're not going to save you thousands of dollars in tax, and particularly if you're using one of these cheaper tech-led solutions, they potentially may not save you any tax at all. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't use them though, because there is one way that you can get more back in your tax regardless. There are three things that you need to know about these tax services. Now, first thing, and this seems like a bit of a harsh truth, but it is the truth, is that most tax accountants do not want to work with individuals. A lot of them want to work with super wealthy people or business owners, people with a lot of complexity where they can charge a reasonable fee. If you're using a low-cost tax service, then they're probably charging you a couple of $100, a few $100. There's no profit margin in that for them, and it also means that they can't spend a lot of time holding your hand and helping you make sure that you're doing everything that you possibly could to get the most out of your tax return. You have to find another way to do that. Also, these tax services look backwards. They do not look forward to. So if you go to them after the financial year is finished, they're going to be limited in what they can do. But before you throw your hands up in the air and just give up here, there are a few things that you can do to get more back from a tax service. The first thing that you need to do is understand the tax rules yourself. It's good to be supported by a good tax service or a good accountant, but you don't want to be dependent on them. You need to understand enough of the rules to make sure that you're doing the right things and using the rules to your advantage. You want to understand the key tax saving strategies, and there's really only a handful of these. Maximizing your regular deductions, franked dividend share investing, debt recycling, super contributions, negative gearing. They're the key strategies that you can use to change your tax position. The right ones for you will depend on you, your taxable income, your cash flow, and what it is that you're trying to actually do with your money. But regardless of what that is, you do need to understand them. The final thing you need to know is that tax is a muscle that you build over time, just like saving, investing, or any other money area. So don't worry if you feel like it's confusing or a little bit overwhelming at the moment. Know that you just need to learn a bit, then you can do a little bit better, and you just keep building on that knowledge from there. The important part though is that you are building the muscle. Once that muscle has been built, you're going to get a better result from a tax service or when you do your tax return, regardless of whether you use a tax service or you do it yourself.